يعني مؤسس أيضا لمجلات علمية في هذا التخصص، فمجلة الكلية هو مؤسسها، ومجلة طب النوم يعني هو مؤسسها أيضا العالمية، وهو خبير عالمي كما تعرفون. الدكتور البروف بهمام طبعا يعني يشع علما ونورا أينما حل، فأنا طلبت منه موضوعا، فيعني بكرمه اقترح 3 مواضيع، فإن شاء الله لنا لقاءات أخرى معه بإذنه تعالى مستقبلا. فكونوا معنا في اللقاءات القادمة إن شاء الله. طبعا حنستضيف أخوة آخرين أيضا في هذه السلسلة من الجيرنال كلاب. أدعو بروفيسور بهمام ليبدأ، وعلى بركة الله. ما سامعينك يا دكتور، أنت ميوت.
السلام عليكم. Thank you. شكرا جزيلا بروفيسور سليمان. Professor Sulaiman is my teacher, so it's a great honor to be introduced by him. I'm glad to be with you here. I think probably some of the audience, they don't speak Arabic, so we'll have the lecture in English. The lecture will be AI role in scientific writing and research, balancing innovation and integrity. I'm sure that this is a big topic, so each one of you probably is expecting something out of this lecture that will serve his purpose. I hope that I can provide this. It's a huge topic, so we'll try to just put the main outlines of it in this coming 45 minutes or so, and we can discuss after that. Okay, I think this picture is familiar to those who are of the older generation, and this is about the cell phone with the camera, جاسوس متلصص بأيدي المراهقين والمراهقات, and this tells us that people tend to fear or oppose what they don't understand. So this probably applies to what the topic we are discussing now. Keep this picture in mind as we go on. This is one of my papers. This is the first paper, extensive paper. Some of the important papers, I put the barcode that you can scan and download to make it easy for you. So you can take a screenshot or scan it. This is a detailed paper that go extensively into the topic, titled Adapting to the Impact of Artificial Intelligence in Scientific Writing, Balancing Benefits and Drawbacks while Developing Policies and Regulations. This is also another paper, Balancing Innovation and Integrity in Research and Scientific Writing. You can also scan the barcode. I'll come to these 2 papers as we go on. Jeannie Rometty, the former CEO of IBM, she wrote a nice article. I quote this from it. She said, some people call this artificial intelligence, but the reality is this technology will enhance us. So instead of artificial intelligence, I think we will augment our intelligence by using it. I think this makes the whole story of this new tool. So we'll start with some technical notes before we go into the main topic of the lecture. Quickly, when we talk about artificial intelligence tools, we talk mainly here about generative AI, GPTs, generative pre-trained transformers. So we talk about large language models like ChatGPT, Claude, Google Bard, Gemini, Llama, Bing, and so on. And the large language models are the natural language processing technique that bridge computer and human language. As you have heard in the introduction, I'm not an IT person, but I try to adapt to what's new to serve my purpose as a researcher and clinician. So I will give some just technical note for non-IT specialists, but for IT specialists, if they are attending with us, they will think this is just silly what I'm saying. So it will help us excel in text generation, as we will show you as we go on, classification, summarizing big data and articles, question answering. I'll show you some example, and inferences. And they are usually trained on past data. I'll show you also more information as we go on. And it has potential benefits for authors and editors alike. It's of great significance to those whose language is not native language is not English. It helps them a lot in making their language better. Also, it helps editors and publishers. What we do now by screening for like plagiarism, screening references for accuracy, this is all some sort of artificial intelligence. And also AI enhanced literature search and discoverability. For these editors, I'll come back to this topic later with more details. But when we talk about editorship and AI, our concern is data privacy and security and reviewer expertise when they review it. I'll come to that in more details as we move on. It saves a lot of time because it can process large data volume. It can also review big articles or even books and give you the summary. It can streamline formatting and citation. And also you can train it to use like personalized learning path for students or even specialists in one field. But it has drawbacks. We'll come to all of that. So how do we what are the potential things in medicine? When we talk about artificial intelligence, this refers to the ability of computers to execute tasks traditionally performed by humans. And this is not new. When I got my first PC in the mid-80s, I was a student at that time. It was DOS-based. At that time, it already has chess. So I used to play chess with it. So playing chess by the computer is some sort of artificial intelligence. And then if we move one step deeper, then we have machine learning. And machine learning, this now are trained on algorithms. So will improve through experience and data training. And then we can execute more tasks. Then we have the deep learning. And this is a specialized subset of machine learning with neural networks layers. That's why we call it deep. And then we have transformer, like the large language model, like ChatGPT. So it's like that. For us, I think most of the audience here are probably physicians or in health allied. For us doctors, being a doctor does not require being good in math or IT, actually, but would require commitment and hard work. So maybe some doctors, they find AI not for them. And William Osler, the famous cardiologist, he mentioned a long time ago that medicine is a science of uncertainty and an art of probability. Therefore, if you have something sharp like AI, some physicians may not like it. But I think we have to adapt to it. So we'll talk about some evolving perspectives. And so generative models do not just create something out of nothing. Actually, they create something out of a lot of something else because they are trained in huge data. So they like originality and innovation. If they have some original ideas by accident, because they come from data that they were trained on, and though this is an advantage, it can be also a disadvantage if there is bias or outdated data or some mistake in the data. So just to go through the main points here, in academia, AI can boost information access, cross-disciplinary work, but may also accentuate or increase negative cultural elements. And there is a debate on AI in scientific writing, which sometimes outweighs the potential against misuse. So in academia, we have to take this balance, but we cannot reject this completely. We have to look for this balance, and this is the difficult equation that we need to adapt to. Okay. This is here, like you have training data, training process, then you have generative pre-trained model that we use. And the large language models, you have to keep in mind that they are operated by human input, so they are not independent. And some people, they say that one day they will attack humans. They will never attack humans because they have to be operated by humans. They lack consciousness, not like humans. They are not aware. They just have algorithms that they work with and statistics. And as I said, LLM statements are only accidentally original. They are unable to generate new thoughts. If it is new to you, because they have access to data that you don't have access to. But it's never original. It has the capability to summarize, translate, edit text provided by the user, which can save you a lot of time. It can also generate original text based on user instruction. Original from the point of data that you don't know, but never original that's the new idea. It's based on what has been trained on. However, there are always the concerns raised about its ability to generate short reports and papers. I'll come to that. And also the concern of copying others' work. I'll give you an example. These GPTs are trained to predict what's next. So if you give them a word or a phrase without asking them anything, they will complete that statement. So just I changed is here, it changed the answer. So I said just sleep deprivation in ChatGPT. Then it completed that. I didn't ask any question. I said sleep deprivation is. Then I said sleep deprivation without is. So it completed. So it's trained to predict what's next. This is the way it thinks. That's why it makes mistakes sometimes and make also hallucination. I'll come to that. They are trained on big data. You have to keep that in mind. One of the known example is common crawl data sets, which take up to 250 billion pages, spanning 17 years, and has a lot of information there. Also, different models are trained on different data. Those that are text generating, they are trained on text data. Stable diffusion and diffusion like tools and apps, they are trained on huge number of images, so it can generate image. If you look to music, also trained on huge database of music, and then it will use that to generate what's asked to do. This is a very important slide just published 4 days ago in Nature. I want you to pay attention here. The red color, this is the amount available of text on the internet. See, it is increasing slowly, and this is a prediction until 2034. So the data in the internet is increasing slowly, and the blue is the size of training data set for LLMs. What LLMs like GPTs have used in the training. So this is different GPTs, and you know they are using data quickly to train, but by 2028, they expect that GPTs will utilize all data on the internet. And at that time, they call this the data bottleneck. So they will reach saturation with the data available. So there is a problem for developing these GPTs beyond that point. And this has been raised recently in Nature. And what the manufacturer like OpenAI and Claude manufacturer, I forget the name of it now, they said that they will shift towards synthetic data, specialized models, and non-publicly available data, try to buy data from other sources to try to keep developing their GPTs on available data. I hope this point is clear because we are reaching the choking point here for the data. So the objective of this talk, this was all an introduction, to deliver an insightful overview of AI's role in scientific writing, detailing its benefits, constraints, and the implication for the research community. I'll focus mainly on the research because I'm a clinical researcher, but I'll touch briefly on education as well. This is also a graph that I like, recently published. This shows common apps and the time it took them to reach 1 million users. And this is in days. The x-axis is in days. You can see Twitter, Instagram, and others. ChatGPT is the shortest. I don't know, like in probably 2 days, 3 days, it reached 1 million users. And remember that ChatGPT was launched, I think, in November 2022, so it's not a long time ago. This is also some data about what researchers and students think about GPT, because you cannot say to something new, no, because people will use it, whether you like it or not. This, again, a Nature review or survey 2023, 30% of over 1,600 scientists use generative AI for manuscript writing. This is 2023. Now we are at the end of 2024, so I'm sure this percentage is much higher now. 15% of grant applicants also, they used it. 55% see generative AIs has major benefits in research. This is recent data that will be published 2025 in Intelligence. 50 to 70% of academics use AI tools in research. So already 50 to 20% of people in academia already use it. Whether they declare that or they don't declare it, they already use it. And this is probably an underestimate number. It's probably more than that. So this is something that we have to live with. This is from the European Research Council 2023. They said they did a survey of more than 1,000 grant recipients. 75% of them believe that GPTs will lower research language barrier by 2030. 85% believe GPTs can handle repetitive tasks and save time and review literature for the researcher and save them a lot of time. 38% say GPTs will boost science productivity. So this is already what we know from the data we have now. As any new tool, like when I showed you the cell phone with the cameras, everything has benefits and drawbacks. So it is a double-edged sword. And we have to know that AI is growing role in research and academia, and people will use it, students, everyone. So we have to reach this efficiency, integrity balance. And I cannot give you that equation because I don't have the solution, but we have to work on that together. And the academic culture is at a crossroads. You cannot say no to something that is coming, and I'll convince you as we go on. So there is risk shifting the focus from quality of research to the quantity. And what we use, like publish or publish, I'll come to that also, enhanced using AI. So we have to keep the ethical part there, and we have to put the regulations that make sense. Again, we have to remember that research depends on creativity, and creativity comes from humans. New ideas come from humans, because AI will not come with a new idea. It will generate a model with algorithm and statistics to develop something based on data trained inside it, but it will not come with something new. So to continue doing research, we need to have the researcher brain. This is very important. This is some general thoughts that I lumped here. AI-generated falsified work, I'll come to that, because GPTs can give you falsified or fabricated work, which sounds convincing. And when you say this is falsified, they will just apologize and say, sorry, I didn't say, yeah, that was my mistake. And there is definitely a threat to research integrity. We'll come to that. And there is potential for incorrect conclusions. And this becomes very important when we come to sensitive fields like healthcare, because policies will be developed based on this data and may reinforce biases from training data. If the training data has mistakes or bias, then the conclusion of GPTs may give you the same thing. So risking skewed predictions and adverse patient care outcomes. And AI fabricated research. This is a major problem. We'll come to it, but it's difficult also to distinguish AI from human writing. I'll come to that as well as we go on. So as we said, like the pressure on researchers in academia to publish or perish means death, publish or die. This put them to use AI to produce more papers on the expense of authenticity, ethics, and quality of research. And also we may use this data to develop wrong healthcare policies. This is an important slide for those in the teaching track called Revamping University Teaching AI in Article Review and Creativity. So this is here AI models like ChatGPT assist in convincing articles and brainstorming. I'll show you an example of brainstorming as we move on. So universities, they shouldn't close the doors. They should adopt and adapt these methods to the best ethical use. And we need to have adaptable professionals who will not just close the door and say, I have nothing to do with AI, I use the old methods of teaching. No, they have to adapt to this and try to learn at least what they need. And we have to overcome the fear inside us of this new technology and break these boundaries and see how can we make the best use of it. This is a study in Germany. Students, more than 6,000 students, 2/3 of them already admit that they are using it. This is 2023. 2025, probably the percentage will be more than that. And this applies to our students in any place. We take this one. This is what's called T-shaped professionals. I don't know if you are familiar with this term or not. T-shaped professional from the T-shape. With the long arm, this is your specialty. So I'm good in sleep medicine, but it doesn't harm that also I get some breadth of skills in other fields like artificial intelligence to help me in my clinical practice and education and research. So it's called like AI proficiency in professional spheres, essential for modern educators and industry professionals. So we need to have this T-shaped professionals who will go into the new areas and develop their skills to serve their main purpose in their main field. So we have to comprehend also AI limitations and misuse in the academic field, and we have to promote ethical AI use in research and education among students and young researchers. And we need to do this by having clear policies. We have national policies, I'll come to it now, but we need also to have institutional policies that are posted in the university website. We need to integrate AI responsibly in academic and research settings, ensure AI use aligns with ethical standards that we set, and enhance human effort because it can save a lot of time. This is an example from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. They have in their website for their students and researchers a detail, just I put part of it, but it is a detailed document for the regulation of the university in using AI in academia, academic writing and research. This is something that we need, all universities need to have something like that, posted easily accessible to everyone, because you cannot just close the door and say this is not allowed. Okay, now we'll move to, can we discriminate between human writing and AI writing? This is a question that we face every day as a researcher when we submit papers or as editors when we receive papers. I'll tell you here that we don't know. We don't have anything yet. AI generated text, by the way, is done by analyzing two key features called perplexity and persistence. And these are technical terms in IT that can detect also by the length of the sentences and some words. But GPTs keep developing. So the software to detect them are not up to that. Also, these softwares are good for like ChatGPT, but when you go to Claude, for example, they don't detect it. I'll tell you some stories. I use the same text. I don't, because of time, I don't present it here. I took the same text. Then I posted in different AI tools. And I got from 0% AI written to 100% AI written. And I took a paper that I had with one of my colleagues. We published in 2016 before AI, and we uploaded to one of these softwares to detect AI. And we got that most of it is written by AI. So this is something that we need to look at. I put here some references that analyze this, and there is a big problem with this. And also, most of them are trained on ChatGPT, but not on other LLM models. So like a study assists 100 human written paper between 2016 and 2018. And this before like AI. And they found that 27% of them, they say, were written by AI. So this is 2016, 2018. This is before AI. So these softwares are not accurate. And you may accuse researchers with something that they did not do. And one of the worst tools is Turnitin. Turnitin will get all text by AI. So there's ethical implication of like saying that someone used AI to write. There is risk to researchers' integrity and reputations. So we need to be cautious when we apply these detection tools. They are not like Authenticate, Turnitin, or Black Scan for detecting plagiarism, which are standardized. These are not standardized yet. However, there is a risk definitely of fraudulent research and what we call paper mills. I don't know if you are familiar with the term paper mills, which is selling fraudulent manuscripts. I'll come to this as we move on. This is a paper in Scientific Reports that looked to the fabrication and errors in the bibliographic citation references generated by ChatGPT. And you can see here that ChatGPT, it's known for fabricating citation, even with the new models of it, still fabricating citation. They found in this paper up to 69, 70% range of fabrication, which can include like the authors, the date, different parts. And they found that, like some people, they think that if you ask ChatGPT to write you an article, it will do that. It will not do that. If it does that, it will be clear that it's written by GPT or AI. So authors in the paper ask ChatGPT to write papers on one topic with like 2,000 words. And none of the 84 papers they asked him to write it reach that number. So they're like 1,400 words only, and they did not follow exactly. The longer you ask them, the longer the text, the more mistakes they make. And if you ask them also to critique something big, they make a lot of mistakes. They do better when you give them like in chunks, small pieces. Here, like Chat GPT-4 was better than 3.5, and 4.4 or 1 probably is better, but still they have problems with citation. They have mainly problem also with books and chapters, and they get fabricated. And even if they do not fabricate the references, they cite like the author's name wrong, they cite the pages or volume or issue wrong. So always they have something wrong with the references. This is a more recent paper than the one I presented, and they look into ChatGPT, Bing, and BAL, and you see the accuracy here in the references was 38, 30, and 3% only. And if you look here to the POI, most of them, they have wrong POI for the paper. This is also, those who use ChatGPT, they know that it is famous for wrong POI. Just they will fake any POI and get it for you. There are some plugins in ChatGPT that get better results. One of them is Consensus, and there are other also plugins, which AI search engine for research. It also works as independent AI, or you can use it with ChatGPT as plugin. And for example, I'll show you an example here that I did. I asked them here, I need recent peer review articles on the association between sleep deprivation and cardiovascular risk. So they list for me some paper, evidence, and this, and all these paper, when I check, they were accurate. So this Consensus give you better, but again, you have to double check. You cannot rely 100% on it. Also, Perplexity, I don't know if you are familiar with it or not. Perplexity AI. Perplexity AI also is a good tool that use large language models, and this is the page of it. And then you can, from the focus here, you can choose like if you want web, academic, math, writing, video, or so you can choose whatever, like academic, for example. Then you can also use the LLM that you want to work with. So they have like their default software. You can use Claude and Sonar, GPT, or they have GPT or one. Probably they will have it. So you can use the one that you want. And you have to keep in mind also and track the evidence that these LLMs or GPTs, they have different performance in research and academia. So like a comparison between Claude Opus, Sonnet, and Haiku and GPT. Claude always performs better than GPT in academia. This is something, and GPT is better than Gemini, for example. So this is something that you can track and look at. And so I have another one to show, but it didn't appear yet. This one also, this is a recent paper, also 2024, where they compare ChatGPT, Bard, Bing, and another one here, and you see the scientific accuracy for the different model mechanistics details. So they don't perform the same. They have different performance. So Claude and GPT, they come at the top. Okay. Now I'll move to paper mills because it is related to using AI in research. Paper mills, this term is used actually for factories that were dedicated to making paper from vegetable fiber such as wood pulp or drug or something like that. So they use this because now they make scientific papers, and you get sometimes email that they are looking for an author to be involved. They will submit to this journal and so on, so you have to pay so and so. So they are producing and selling fraudulent research papers. If you look here, this is an old practice. This is a study looking to like between 2012 and 2022. The number was coming down because there are more monitoring by journals and the retraction watch and this to these articles, so they are retracted. Remember that ChatGPT came at the end of 2022. So there is a surge now coming up because it's easy now to write papers. This, for example, from Nature, out of 1,000 paper that come from suspected like paper mills 2020, only less than 400 were retracted. The rest were there, still people cite it and will use it in developing guidelines and policies. Therefore, there have been a lot of like action on that. This one called United to Act, which is a virtual summit in May 2023. And they came with a recommendation from 15 countries. They came with some recommendations. Just I read the outlines because of the time. In their statement, they said education and awareness, improve post-publication correction, research paper mills. We need to do more research on paper mills, how to detect it, enable the development of trust markers, and continue to facilitate dialogue between stakeholders about systematic manipulation of the publication process, like between the manufacturers of these AI or developers of these AIs, academia and journals and publishers, all they have to sit together and find a way. Sorry, I'll go back and forth because when I click sometimes I miss some slides. This is also a consensus on May 2023 virtual summit. They came to the same conclusion, almost raise awareness, develop tools to identify paper mills, establish policies and processes, collaborate, and share knowledge and pursue further research to detect it. This comic, I think, explains what's paper mills. So it's like you are sitting in a restaurant and the hostess will come and then you will ask whatever you want. They said here, we will take the herbal soup with nanoparticles on cancer cells, impact factor over 3 Ps. So this is a classical example of paper mill. So if we look to the paper mills here, they detected people who are trying to bribe journal editors to publish. And I get emails from suspicious entities. They say, why we don't collaborate? We publish our work in your journal and so on and so. So all editors, they get that, especially when the impact factor of the journal start to go up. You see there is a rise in paper mills after the GBTs, and probably this will continue to rise, so we have to be careful. This is a famous example. I don't know if you have seen it or not. This paper managed to publish in a journal with an impact factor of 1, believe it or not, with this drawing. And this was about cellular function of the spermatogeneal stem cells. So it's like basic science research, should be good quality research. And I don't know how they use the DALI 3 in ChatGPT to draw it, which doesn't make any sense. How did this here, in Twitter say, how did figure 1 get past the reviewer? How did this pass the reviewers and the publisher and the editors and all this kind of things? This is, and it's known, if you look to the drawing, this is known that it's like DALI 3. And it's known for DALI 3 that it makes a lot of spelling mistakes. And this is all full of spelling mistakes. If you look here, all spelling mistakes. And this was published, detected after publication. This is really weird. This is a paper on 2024, retracted papers originating from paper mills, a cross-section analysis of references and citations. This paper trying to look into how to detect paper mills. Paper usually they cite paper mills because generated probably by the same company and companies, and they make like network, so they cite each other paper. And by tracking their citation, as you can see in the figure here, they can detect them. And this is like published in a good journal as well, but these things may pass some time. So for the ethical consideration, here just I'll show. I don't know if we'll have I put the barcode for this, but it doesn't appear here. So we have questions like when GPT came initially, they have questions. Can it be an author? Then we get rid of this ethical concern. So questions about authorship and originality, and also comparison with traditional publication support roles, AI assistant versus conventional methods. For example, now if I have a paper and I go to one professional language editor and I pay $300, $400 to edit that for me, this is okay and allowed. What about if I ask LLMs, GPTs to do it for me? Is that not allowed? Okay, if I ask one of my juniors or hire someone to review the literature, retrieve the literature, summarize it for me, is that allowed? If I give it to GPT, it's not allowed. So this is a question that we have to ask ourselves as well. If I give my paper to someone to read it to see if there is any redundancy, repetition, or the figures not match the text or abstract, because when you get tired after completing your paper, hiring someone or asking someone to do it for me, if I give it to GPT to do it for me, that's not allowed. So AI assistant for conventional methods, we have to think what's allowed and what's not allowed. This is the European Parliament, they put like potential benefits and ethical consideration for AI in research. And IBM also is involved in an international like consortium to develop that. This is from Sadaya. I'll show you the barcode for the QR code for this to download after. Sadaya stands for Saudi Digital and Artificial Intelligence Authority. So Sadaya, this is one of the best documents really I read about AI and GPTs. They put like what the other virtual summits I showed you before. They talk about fairness, reliability, and safety, using human oversight in the whole process. They didn't say no. Transparency, meaning declaring that you use it, and interpretability, accountability, and responsibility that should be also put on the human, not to the AI, and humanity. Design and use AI tools to enhance human skills and avoid deception or manipulation. So this is from local regulation. When ChatGPT came at the end of 2022, 4 papers appeared in 2023 where they list ChatGPT as an author. And actually, one of them created also an email for ChatGPT. So they put everything, even the email you see here, they put an email for ChatGPT, and they put him also the corresponding author. So is that right? That like have been like major attack on this kind of practice. And it's clear now in all journals that, sorry, sometimes when I do it doesn't miss something back. Most of the journals now will say that, all of them, not most of them, all of them will say that AI is not an author because it doesn't fulfill the criteria of authorship. The main one of them is accountability. So as they are not accountable, then they will not be authors. And this is in the Guardian. Science Journal PAN listing ChatGPT as co-author in paper. This is in 2023. So all current recommendations are against AI. And CORB statement also, you know, CORB is Committee of Publication Ethics. Again, you can go onto their site. They have a good statement and they keep updating that on AI tools and authorship eligibility, inability to assume responsibility. So being non-legal entities, they cannot be an author. They just will close this door. It's easy to close it. The point of disclosure. Now, if we use AI, we have to disclose that. And I'll discuss spend some time talking about disclosure, either after this or in the coming slides. So disclosure in acknowledgement or methods is mandatory. You have to disclose for transparency. And you have to describe also how we use AI, either in the declaration section or in the methods. And you have to specify the AI tool used, the name, the airship manufacturer, as we detailed that for the statistical analysis software, which is, by the way, some sort of AI. This is here also JAMA network excluded using AI for basic grammar and reference tools from declaration. There's no need to declare that. The World Association of Medical Editors, WAMI, this is their barcode. You can download it if you like. They keep updating also the recommendation. They said, like, you need to provide with transparency detailed disclosure of AI used, technical specifications, and method of AI application, but they did not forbidden that. They said you can use, but you have to declare that. How did you use it? And JAMA and AI generated content, they discourage AI created content, but they did not say no to it. They discouraged that. And they said it is the author's responsibility for content integrity and ethical standards. This is from JAMA. Again, I put the barcode, which is reporting use of AI in research and scholarly publication, JAMA network guidance, where they like listed thing, and they put also the consult AI. You know, the consult that we use for like the checklist. They put one for AI that you have to go through that checklist, and I will not go into the details because of the time. You can download that. This applies also to images and other things. But one point we need to discuss, if you write a text using AI, does it have copyright? Can you claim that this is your writing and people should cite it or refer to you if they use it? Consult also discuss that. This is here just to discuss what I told you before about the copyright. This is an image. This image became famous because it went to court, actually. This was generated by AI. One gave some instruction for AI to generate this image. Then someone used it without referring to the one who developed it on AI. So the developer, he went to the court and said, this is my photo or my drawing. They should not use it without this and that. And the court in the US said, no, this is not yours. It's publicly open because it's created by AI. So is text created by AI? If we take this analogy and apply it to the text, is text generated by AI, is it copyrighted or not? This is a point that needs to be clarified also in coming guidelines. So we need to develop international guidelines for AI in scientific writing. And this is what I called for in this paper, that we need urgent international guidelines that should involve all stakeholders to like emphasize transparency, ethics, and responsible use. And this should be like uniform and accepted by everyone. Should also focus on accuracy, bias, privacy, security, confidentiality. Make sure that we don't send data to open sources that should be confidential. So there are some documented benefits of AI in research. So we don't say no to everything. It demonstrated capabilities in summarizing research and paraphrasing. Very good. Proven effectiveness in generating manuscript titles. I'll show you some examples. And improving writing preciousness. So eliminate redundant phrases, wordiness, and unnecessary repetition in text. Instead of giving to someone to do it, they can do it for you for free. Also successfully assist in brainstorming. I'll give you an example of brainstorming, hypothesis generation, and experimental design planning. It can help in that without breaching the ethics. I'll give you some examples here. Research summarization. So, for example, the study examined sleep patterns in 500 participants. They say, like, help you to say sleep patterns analyzed across 500 subjects. I give some example that I gave myself and ask him to help just for the sake of this lecture. Title generation. I put this title, an investigation into the effects of circadian rhythm disruption on sleep quality in shift workers. So it helped to improve it. Circadian disruption impact in shift workers' sleep quality. More concise and informative instead of this long, redundant title. Also, hypothesis formation. Original, we think that there might be some kind of relationship between sleep duration and cognitive performance in medical residents. It improved it by saying sleep duration directly correlates with cognitive performance in medical residents. So this like help us to our same hypothesis, but to phrase it better. In the design, for example, the original here, we will look at how different groups of people sleep and see if their sleep changes during Ramadan. This is a topic that had working for more than 25 years. The AI improved one, a prospective cohort study comparing sleep architecture in healthy adults before and during Ramadan months fasting using polysomnography, for example. So those who are not familiar with the design can help them. They have the idea, but it will help them to streamline things. Here, an example of brainstorming example. Also, this is something that I created. So if you want to start with a research question, I start with this research question. How does fasting affect sleep? And this is a topic that I know very well. And actually, most of the work publishes from our lab. So AI-enhanced brainstorming process, research direction. Give this suggestion. Impact of Ramadan fasting on sleep architecture and circadian rhythm. Try to help me refine my research question. Generated sub-question. Question 1, changes in sleep stages during Ramadan. Not like a big, they're now looking for sleep stages. Also, question 2, what about melatonin secretion, which follows a circadian rhythm? Question 3, what about daytime sleepiness variation during Ramadan fasting? Question 4, what about sleep quality metrics at night? So then give me some study design consideration. Polysomnography, which is used for sleep study before and during Ramadan to do it. Then using actigraphy, which is a watch to monitor sleep at home. Then what about sleep diary? They fill their sleep documentation. What about using melatonin measurements? So started with this initial research question. I ended with this research question, finally refined question. How does Ramadan intermittent fasting alter sleep architecture and circadian rhythm markers in healthy adults? So with this research question, I have a better view now. I can design or put better objectives. I can design a better methods to answer my objectives. And if I submit for a grant, I get better chance to win this grant because I have a better designed comprehensive study. So it can help researchers without breaching confidentiality or breaching ethics. Okay, there is something also I want to, but I don't know if you agree with me or you don't agree because this is a new topic that is evolving. I think there is a paradox because AI and machine learning and research, it's a data alley, means that in data we encourage using AI. These are some of my papers that look into this. I put the barcode. This, for example, this paper in one of the major journals of the American Thoracic Society, I invited paper, I wrote it, personalizing obstructive sleep apnea therapy using machine learning. So we encourage people using machine learning to personalize obstructive sleep apnea. So why we say no, we want like in writing if there is some ethical. And this is about publicly available health research data sets. And also in this paper, we encourage using machine learning and AI. And this is also about artificial intelligence and sleep medicine, the dawn of a new era, encouraging that. So there is some paradox here, and it is ironic. I think because we don't have a clear vision of how we want to use it in scientific writing. But there are critical limitations and risks. Again, AI lacks understanding of underlying principles and first principle of subjects. So AI operates, remember this, on patterns in data, not fundamental scientific understanding. It doesn't understand like human. It has algorithm, data, and statistics. This is the way it works. Can produce hallucinations, something which is out of context, generating factually incorrect or nonsensical responses. AI may with confidence tell you, present false information by making up data or combining unrelated facts. Again, because they are working with algorithms, they don't understand. AI can generate plausible sounding but completely fabricated research, citation, and statistics. I think we have discussed that. Also, we discussed about the citation problems with it. And there is also limitations of AI language models in research. The pattern cognition versus true understanding. They don't understand. They operate in statistical patterns rather than genuine comprehension. ChatGPT or one that has better comprehension now, but still has problems. Can generate plausible but factually incorrect responses. data and verifications issues, limited to training data that may be outdated or inaccurate or has bias, whether it is gender bias or or race bias, cannot verify information like humans or cross-reference sources in real time, like what we do. We cross-reference to see if this is accurate or not. Generation behavior produce confident sounding but potentially false statements, create convincing but fabricated citation and references. Information processing flows also combines unrelated facts into false conclusions and generate hallucination, one of the major problems that hallucination in these things. Another topic that I want to cover, I don't know if we are allowed to continue or not, which is the AI stigma in research. We have to get off this stigma. I'll try to explain it in this slide briefly. Researchers may hesitate to use or acknowledge AI due to concerns that it could diminish the perceived value of their work or undermine their scientific credibility. Still, for us, using AI in research writing is a stigma. So people, they don't declare that. Only 3.5% of published articles include AI declaration since mid-2023. Notice that when I showed you initially in the initial slide that most of them are using it, but only 3.5 declare that. This is because they think there is a stigma. We have to get rid of this stigma, have to be transparent so people will declare. This hesitation creates a challenging environment if the primary goal of science is to advance knowledge. So prioritizing researcher credit over AI transparency impedes scientific advancement. We have to accept it and declare it to help us advance knowledge and research. So how do we break the barriers? AI usage stigma creates a culture of concealment. We cover it, undermine transparency in scientific methods. There is fear of reputational damage that prevents researchers from adapting AI tools and declaring that. There is also lack of open discussion. I think this meeting or this lecture is one of this open discussion that hinders or prevents the development of this practices and ethical standards. We have to get rid of this stigma. The last part I'll talk about is AI for journal editors, because probably some of the attendees are journal editors. First of all, as I said, when we use AI for confirming references, for checking for plagiarism or similarities, all AI. But LLMs, now some reviewers, they use LLMs for reviewing papers. So is this acceptable or not? Is it accurate or not? I'll try to cover this in 3 slides. LLMs can produce convincing peer review, which was comparable to human in published study, but fail at quality assessment. This is squirrel surgeon, squirrel with Msaad. This is a nice experiment. And this, by the way, they came in the New England Journal of Medicine just like a few weeks ago, and Nature also in September 2024. So this is something new. This is a surgeon who put his data into ChatGPT, and he labeled males as squirrels, tanajib, and females as humans, and gender as species. And he said, what's the outcome of squirrels versus humans in research? And GPT does not recognize that squirrels cannot do surgery. Msaad cannot do surgery. So this is an example of how they don't understand. They just have algorithms and they follow that. And I will not discuss this graph. You can take a screenshot of it or go to the main paper if you like, because of the time. So AI reviews are helpful but lack specificity compared to humans' feedback, with only half of the researchers finding them valuable. AI works best as an administrative aid rather than replacement for human. This part of it, the other major part of it is the confidentiality. I don't know how sliding that, I'll talk about it. So while LLM assist in peer review, clear guidelines are needed to prevent over-reliance and ensure human oversight, maintain scientific integrity. And if you look here, for example, looking do journals, top 100 journals in the world, do they have guidelines for using AI in peer review by the reviewers? If you look in the US, this is like prohibited. This is European, this others. Like you see, some places they don't have no comment at all. And what about the publisher, commercial publisher, society publisher, and mixed publisher? Again, good proportion of them, they have no guidelines, or they have limited guidelines for the reviewers. This is also recent data in JAMA. The NIH, they have like guidelines published in June 2023 for review matters. They said using AI in peer review is a breach of confidentiality. You remember now, when an editor sends you a paper to review, you get a statement at the end that this data is confidential. You shouldn't share it with anyone because this data is not published yet, confidential. So if you share it with one of the LLMs, then it's not confidential anymore. And even of the LLMs, they said we don't use it in training. You should be sure that they use it in training their like algorithm. So it's used already in training and it's already there with them. And if you look now to what Sadaya said about this, this is the barcode for Sadaya. I said this is one of the best documents. I read it for you, the Sadaya one, in section 5.4, classified data breaches. They say when interacting with generative AI, users should be aware that they might unintentionally expose sensitive information. Very important. This is because generative AI services use the information received through prompts as training data for further development of the model. This can then be exposed to third parties. This risk is complicated by the fact that generative AI models do not store information in traditional document form, as we save it, for example, in our cloud or something, meaning it is harder to identify if any sensitive information was in fact leaked or make the model and learn this information. And I'll continue reading. This organization, like universities, should implement policies for generative AI use, and they said what they should do with that. Also, organizations like university academic centers must emphasize to their workforce that existing and upcoming legal requirements remain binding when use generative AI. And also, they said generative AI service providers and developers should provide users, this is very important, with options to give or refuse consent to use their data. When you put data, they should ask you that, do you want me to train my model on this data or not? I said no. So this should be very important, and they don't have it until now, unfortunately. This is another good document by called Responsible AI Risk Management Summit, how to mitigate the risk of using generative AI, a step-by-step guide. I won't go into it because of the time limitation, but you can scan this barcode and download the PDF document and read it at your time. So to conclude here, ethical AI integration in research mandates a balance between innovation and integrity. Academia need to adopt and adapt to AI in education, writing, and research, and not close the door. I'll tell you why not close the door. It is vital to encourage dialogues on AI dual impact, ensuring responsible application across the research and education ecosystem. Establishing AI guidelines and disclosure norms in research is imperative for transparency and inclusivity. Updating editorial policies regularly for journals to mirror AI advancement and development will safeguard transparency and maintain trust in scientific communication. Also, we should get rid of this AI stigma to encourage authors and researchers to declare AI use as they declare statistical analysis software transparently, and this will help advancing research. And final concluding point, stakeholders, including the providers, must collaborate to establish comprehensive regulations for ethical and legal use of generative AI. And this slide, I think, is very important to take home. It says that take-home message, the tide or wave of AI is riding. It's a tsunami coming, unstoppable tsunami in its force. So embrace its potential through education and collaboration. Otherwise, you will be swept away by its disruptive currents, and it will continue. And this is here by Ridley Scott. Said, life is not black and white. It is a million gray areas, don't you find? So nothing is good or bad. Have to adapt and adopt it. And you remember this slide we started with. And same thing like for the cell phone with the camera. It will be allowed at the end. And everyone will say, this is good. So it's the same concept. This is like here learning something new. Stage 1, research it. Stage 2, in-depth research. Stage 3, you go into crisis and confusion. Then stage 4, you understand it and it is good and useful. And we go through all these 4 stages always. So people often embrace what they understand. This is very important. And what I say here, AI amplifies the research potential. It empowers the skilled and exposes the unprepared. This is in a nice saying. In a like simple saying, AI will make smart people smarter and dumb dumber, because it will expose them and they will not know how to use it, and the train will leave them and they will move. We had yesterday an online meeting with the World Sleep Society Congress that's planned in Singapore in 2025, and I proposed for them and postgraduate course on mastering AI in scientific publishing, from writing to editorial leadership, and they liked it very much. Actually, they asked me today to submit like a proposal for that, only they will take it. So this topic is very hot. This is a big meeting that had like people from all over the world. And to disclose that the drawing you have seen all are by DALI 3. So as you can see, we have to disclose that. And to conclude also, we'll say, let us embrace AI as an ally in innovation, using it with integrity, not as a force to be feared, but a partner to be guided. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prof. Ahmed. Very interesting and insightful presentation. You have touched really unveiled areas of this topic, AI and research. I'm sure most of us have some questions and comments, but let me just read some questions from the chat. Dr. Sharifuddin asked, how can we use AI for drug-based prediction?
Yeah, this is a very important topic, and I talk about this when I talk about big data, because big data now are using AI and machine learning algorithm in analyzing big data and seeing what's the best time for giving the drugs, looking to the gene expression and that these drugs work on. So they look, these drugs they work on that gene. So what's the best time that genes will be expressed? And there are several papers now published on that, including the timing for giving anti-cancer therapy, with good data that if you using machine learning to predict the timing and give the antineoplastic medication at the time with the highest gene expression, you get better results.
Great, Prof. Another question from Dr. Sharifuddin. Can I use ChatGPT for my project write-up and still maintaining data integrity? This is concerning for.
Yes, ChatGPT can help with the writing, but not to draft everything from zero. It can help if you have like the initial draft. It can help you refine it, improve the phrasing, look for redundancy, correct the grammar, correct the spelling. It can help you with the brainstorming before you write, as I showed you in the example, in the brainstorming to like for the research question, hypothesis, refine the objectives and search the literature. It can help on all of that, but it will not write things from scratch. Also, you have to keep in mind that when you put your manuscript or data on LLMs, it's not confidential anymore. So if your data are not that important, you think if people see it, it doesn't matter, then put it. If you think that you have something very original that people may steal it, and I think for us in medicine, most of us, our work is not that really original, that it's a breakthrough that will like, then you don't put it. But make sure also that if you put anything, don't put patient names or anything to identify patients. Don't put patient data, even de-identified patient data. Don't put it. Maybe we can give one lecture another time about the governance of big data. but don't give any information, big data, like from your hospital, even if it is DI-25. I hope I answered that question.
مساعد في ناس بيتداخلوا زي بروف تمساح رافع يده.
تمام، بس لنا فيها الكويشنز من بداية البرزنتيشن.
اوكي مساعد، ask a question.
بروف بدك تاخذ المداخلات او
زي ما تحبون،
او
زي ما
نسأل
تحبون.
الأسئلة؟
as you like.
طيب. احنا بس بنقرا بعض الأسئلة بعدين المداخلات ونرجع للأسئلة اللي طرحت مؤخرا. في دكتور فادي، معلش دكتور مصطفى. He asked a question, how accurate can AI be when it comes to data interpretation and empirical research?
It depends what's meant by data interpretation. If we talk about LLMs, it depends on the trained model. But if we talk about big data and using machine learning, it's very good. I work with groups. I don't show my work here, but if we talk about big data, I can show my work. I work with a group on big data, where we have big data help you in phenotyping diseases, personalized medicine, detecting things that you cannot detect it by humans, because you can analyze like 5 million records of patients. These humans, they cannot do it. And they look to many variables and see the predictors. Also, like the data now that are coming frequently about Mendelian randomization. Also, this use machine learning. These are techniques that humans cannot analyze. So you need the machine learning. But you have to know that any model, it has to go through initially through training, then validation, then testing on a different database to make sure that it is accurate. It doesn't go from developing the model, then apply it immediately. And if you have big data, you also run into problems of the statistician. They know that what's called overfitting model or underfitting model. Overfitting, that it's small data and understand it, but when it goes to other data, it doesn't apply. And also leakage. Leakage, like if you include, for example, some predictors in the training data, but these predictors will not, future predictors, but they are not available. For example, to make it easy, if I train the model in patient to detect sleep apnea, but these patients already, they use CPAP, and I put CPAP in that model. So it will detect sleep apnea easily because they are already in CPAP, mean that they have been diagnosed to have sleep apnea. Then if I go to apply to data of patients, I want to know who's at a risk of sleep apnea, and we don't have CPAP, it will fail. I hope that this is clear. So it goes through a rigorous process, complicated process done by IT people who are specialized in machine learning and big data, epidemiologists, they call them, analysis. So they go through training, validation, then testing on the data, then testing on another data to make sure it is valid, then you apply it. But yes, it can help, definitely. This is the way it is used. All big data now are analyzed, like if you hear about the UK Biobank database, the FinGen database, the Finland database. I hope that one day we'll have Saudi Biobank data.
Thank you so much. Dr. Hani Timsahi, he has participation. Dr. Hani, you raised your hand. Can you participate?
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you very much. Thank you. Prof, enlightening as usual, mashallah. Yani, a pioneer always in the research and in the academia. Prof, I just want to emphasize the points you mentioned about the hallucinations. I know our King Saud colleagues led by Dr. Fadi Jam'an and Prof. Al-Malki, we did the reference hallucination score for the citations, for the bibliographic hallucinations. What I noticed, it's becoming decreasing with time. So currently, I think now if you test it, I'm mainly talking about ChatGPT. So if you test it now and a year ago, the hallucinations were much more. So this is just re-emphasizing the points you mentioned, Prof. And another point to emphasize for colleagues, please be careful when you put any information, avoid any confidential information sharing, whether it's the name of the patients, file numbers, date of birth, your own names. So just be careful because it's a black box. So just make sure it doesn't store confidential data on these unknown sources where they go. So this is only my comment, Prof. Thank you again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Dr. Fadi Jam'an also has a couple of questions. This question, I think one of the major challenges with AI applications is tailoring them to the research or user needs, which depends highly on the prompt design. What are the best strategies to learn prompt designing? Is it required to learn systematically through curriculum? What do you think?
If I understand the question right, I think if we talk about large language models, it definitely depends on the question that you put. It has to be clear so the model will understand it. If it doesn't understand it, then go and open a new library, because it will keep some traces of the first question and its misunderstanding in the coming answer. So go with a new library and start all over again. You have to give a clear question to the GPT, what you want exactly, make sure it understands it good. And also you may, this like comes with experience. And the more you work, the more you know how to ask. I don't think there is any like special things on like what to follow exactly, because in academia and research, you have usually specific questions and you need specific answer. Not like asking about a general question. For example, if I want to ask a general question, for example, anything, for example, how to open a bank account in bank so and so, I can ask ChatGPT. It will give me this a simple question and it's a clear answer. But in our academia and research, usually we have a specific question with specific answer. So we have to make sure that the question is clear. Also, I found that if you give too many questions, it will get confused. So probably you can start with step by step. If you want to give more than one thing, it's good to give like question number 1, this and this. Question number 2. So it will take it then for you 1, 2, 3, not like lumping all together. But still, it has to be back and forth, trial and error until it gives you what you want.
Clear, Prof. Another input from Dr. Fadi. It's an important question. He says one of the limitations causing hallucinations, as I think, is non-existence of mesh terms that tailor the AI apps research. Are we going to see AI applications specialized in different aspects of medicine?
Yes, I think there are already some plugins. Yeah, I agree with the comment of Dr. Fadi. It's 100% accurate. There are some already like plugin that can go with academia, and plugin probably can go with the medical. So if you are like a subscriber to GPT, you can look to search the plugins and choose the plugin which has been used by like more people and scored high. So like a plugin which used like by 100, not like a plugin that have used like by 500,000 and scored good, this probably is a good one. So it's not only for medicine, even for law, for mathematics, there are special plugins that can tailor the answer and will understand better the question and give also more accurate answers. And I showed you like the consensus, and there are many other things like consensus that can help searching research, consensus, elicit. All these can refine the research, give you better like references and search references for you. But yes, definitely, it's keep developing. Now, when we talk about this came at the end of 2022. When we talk about early 2023, we said this is a long time ago. So what's published at that time is not applicable now, because we are now going to 2025. It's like 20 years of development in other fields. So yes, everything will be coming, definitely. It will come. It will keep evolving.
Thank you so much. For Dr. Ahdab Iskandar raised your hand. Can you just put your input, please?
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أهداب اسكندر من كلية التمريض. Professor, thank you so much for the great topic and presentation. If I have to summarize the talk, I think you've mentioned that the AI is a great tool, that we have a long way to optimize it and further improve it so it can serve us in research. But there is currently a need for guidance on specifically submitting publications on journals, on to what extent do the authors use manuscripts, AI in developing their manuscripts. And I think you've mentioned there are a couple of softwares that you can use to assess or see if they used AI. Is this required now in some journals? Like the editors, they have to check for any submissions if it used AI, or is it like a statement?
Thank you, Dr. Ahdab. I agree with your summary, and I would say that we should look to AI that it will augment our intelligence rather than replace our intelligence. So if we approach it from that point, augmenting our intelligence, then it will help us. So someone who produce like this amount of work, he can probably double that, because it saves them a lot of time and let them focus on the main thing that needs real intelligence of the humans. For the journals, yes, some of them they do check, but unfortunately, as I said, like Turnitin, for example, Turnitin, which is used for similarity check, also they have like a tool to check for AI. It will get 100% all papers. So some editors, they will check and reject upfront. And others, they will not rely much on that, and we'll see like if it is, because I did a test on several of the AI detection software on the net. I put the same text, and I told you, from 0 to 100% with the same text. So it's not accurate. And as an editor myself, I don't depend on it, and like to accuse people that use AI. We had a recent paper that we submitted. It was written by colleagues, more than one author. And when we submitted to a journal, they gave us 100% AI written. We were surprised. How come 100%? It cannot be 100%. Yeah. 100%, I don't write anything. Everything was written by AI, just I was like doing what? It doesn't, as an editor, if I get 100%, I'll be skeptical about this report. You can't get 100% similarity or 100%. You didn't write anything, everything was by AI. So it's not accurate. Unfortunately, some editors, they use it and they believe it. But what can you do? If they tell you that your paper was 100% AI, and you know that you did not use like AI just to streamline few things, then just go and search for another journal, because you cannot convince them.
Thank you, Professor. So we need more softwares that are يعني specificity حقتها كويسة بالعكس تعطينا أكثر.
في السوفتوير هذه I don't think we reach that point, because the GPTs are evolving and faster than the checking devices. So they cannot keep up with it. I think this AI detection software, I think, is not a good solution. They should think of something else, because it's not practical. And it is designed mainly for GPT. So for example, if you use Claude, the likelihood of detection is less. But using GPT, then more likelihood of detection. But you know, as I said, they look to like the length of the sentences. They look to certain words, what's called perplexity and robustness. So they look to few things which are not based on algorithms, not 100% detection. It's not something solid. It's not something that to say like similarity. This is here and this is in the same paper here, similarity check. No, this is all depend on predictions. So the models are not accurate, and accusing researchers with integrity about using something without like 100% accuracy is not right. We should not do it.
Thank you so much, Prof. Thank you, Doctora, for your participation. There's another question from Dr. Alina, interesting one. In reference to the AI-generated painting that was not copyrighted to the person who asked the AI to generate it, how does our text that is generated by AI in response to our instruction can be copyrighted? Like, for example, providing articles for AI to summarize and then use the generated text in our literature review.
Yes, I mean, if we ask them to summarize articles that are already online available, and then we use part of that summary in our papers, that's fine, because the copyright is not for that section. The copyright is for your whole paper. What we do conventionally, we read those papers and we summarize them. So it's the same concept. So the copyright is for the whole article, not for that section, because that section we cite it from other papers. So it's the work of others. And here also, if you want them to summary and you want to get something good out of it, I'll tell you a trick. Probably some of you are using it and some are not. Because if you give them instruction, they understand. So for example, you say, if you want them to summarize a paper, and they say, you can say, don't copy verbatim, write original text, not plagiarized. So the likelihood of copying verbatim from the source is less likely. Also, if you tell them, please use humanized writing style, not AI writing style, it also understands that. So, or if you put your writing and you say, correct the grammar and language, make it more clear, but try to stick to my writing style. So it understands, because it analyzes the data, it has their algorithms and statistics, so it analyzes like the length of the different sentences, what kind of words you use, and this like that, active, passive voice. So it analyzes that and modify the text close to your writing style. So don't leave it to them to do it. You can give them instruction to guide them through the process.
Thank you, Prof. Also, there is another question. We have a lot of questions, Prof. Sorry, it's really interesting, and everybody wants to ask and to get benefit from your presence. Doctor, if it's acceptable not to acknowledge the use of Google search in research papers, then why should be required to acknowledge the use of tools like ChatGPT?
Yes, like if you use it for search, only searching the literature, then you don't have to acknowledge that, because I search the literature like searching PubMed or anything. So you don't have to say that I use it to search. But if you use it to help in writing the text, and like, for example, if you want to do a systematic review and you put the papers for AI to summarize it for you, or you put the inclusion and exclusion criteria and say, please select for me papers that included or excluded these criteria to come, like you have big volume of papers, then you have to declare that. AI is a new tool. So as a new tool, people are suspicious and they want to declare everything. That's why we need, again, guidelines for what to declare, what not to declare. For example, JAMA Network I showed you, JAMA Network, for example, said that for correcting language, and I think for summary, they said you don't have to declare. JAMA Network, others did not. So again, if you submit to a journal, if they have guidelines, you have to check carefully what's in their guidelines, specifically what they want you to declare exactly, and you can declare that.
Another question, Prof. Have you used AI in making your lecture?
I use AI every day. Every day. I work from it from the morning until I end, if I work on my computer and my research. And I work on it every day, and I know how to use it. It saves me a lot of time. It increases my productivity. In the lecture, I ask it to look for what's new in this topic, and then I upload my lecture, and I say, do I have redundancy? Do I have areas that I did not cover in this you suggest? Then I go and search it myself. Have to verify things. I don't depend on it 100%. It helped me instead of searching, because if I search Google, it will take me a lot of time and I may not get everything. Using something like Perplexity, which is a search engine and large language model, because ChatGPT is not a search engine, by the way. So perplexity, a search engine, and large language model, it saves me a lot of time. And making my slides now, you know, in PowerPoint, there is something called designer up in the right. This designer is artificial intelligence. Help me designing my slide. This artificial intelligence. PowerPoint has something called plugin. You can add plugins. All these are AI, including ChatGPT. It can help you in your slide. So yes, I use AI every day. Every day I work with it. I work more with Perplexity than ChatGPT. I like Claude more than ChatGPT. But ChatGPT understands the questions better than Perplexity. So it does understand the question.
Saying that, Prof, so we have two questions asking for your recommendation. Any application you advise to use in writing for development? And then the other question is to use analyzing the data. Any suggestion from your side, Prof?
No, for analyzing data, I wouldn't recommend like ChatGPT to analyze your data because it's not validated for that. For analyzing data, I work with groups who have like on board with us, we have IT specialists who develop their own models, and then we analyze data, yes, but not through ChatGPT, because also ChatGPT, if you have your data, it will not be confidential anymore. This is one thing. Again, I cannot put recommendations myself. I think different universities should have committees or experts involved, guided by the international guidelines and SADAYA guidelines, and also NMDO guidelines. National NMDO is part of SADAYA for the data. I forget the full name, national something. And abiding by that, and then put regulation for different institutions and universities. Each institution should do that, and then put it on the website of the institution. That will help people know what to use. Because if I recommend something, then the authority may say no. So I cannot recommend something. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Prof.
One thing good I mentioned, I don't know if people miss it or not. Like if your manuscript, you think you have nothing to hide and it's okay that use it for training. Sometimes when we write big manuscripts or something, you have a lot of redundancy, and because you are tired, you don't see what you write. You have a lot of redundancy. You have also you keep analyzing, and you may have different numbers and figures and text or in abstract, and you updated the analysis, but you don't update the abstract. So these things happen. In the figures, you forget to add something. So if you think that your paper, it's okay that if ChatGPT or others use it in training, and if other people make use of it later, then it helps you a lot in this, because you don't want to submit a paper that has a lot of redundancy or have conflicting numbers in figures, table, text, abstract, things like that.
Thank you, Prof. Before taking your participation, Dr. Ghalia, there's a participation from Dr. Abdulaziz Nizam. There are several softwares that use to avoid detection using AI in scientific writing. Dr. Ghalia, can you unmute yourself?
So you've mentioned that we have to adapt the AI the same as you do when you do your presentation or anything you do it during the academic day. Can you give us a tip how to adapt the AI? And also you've talked about the prediction, because the prediction has two ways, either negative or positive. So in which extent we can balance between negativity and positivity in terms of prediction. So let me give you an example. Sometimes when you use the AI at your manuscript, and you end up by having a positive, let's say, outcomes, in contrast, unfortunately, the AI may have different result, and I do believe it's not that accurate. So can we at least adjust the calculation of the AI, trying to control it to be more accurate?
If I understand the question right, طبعا زي ما قلنا ال AI it doesn't understand. It has algorithms and statistics and data that have been trained on and tends to expect what's next. So if you put like one word, just put one word and put enter, it will complete a sentence. So the main thing is to put clear instruction of what you want to do. For example, I want to write an email to a person, that's professional email, and I want to cover certain points. So I'll say, okay, this is the email I received. You don't have to put names if you don't put people names. This is the email I received. I want to respond to this professionally and concisely, addressing these points 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Quickly, it will provide you with a response that's professional. You can check it and edit it after that. You don't take it, copy it as it is. And some people, they copy it with the ChatGPT comment down above and this. But you can copy that, put it in Word and modify, especially like if you want to communicate with societies or something, or you want to send a message to many people that has to be really very clear, crystal clear, that doesn't have like the possibility of different interpretations. So it will give you a professionally, clearly written email. That's an example. And then you edit it and send it. So this is one example. Dr. Hani, Professor Hani also, he mentioned about, I didn't mention this, he mentioned about using it in review. I think this is very good using it in the rebuttal or responding to the reviewers. Sometimes you get comments that you don't understand for your paper. If you think again your paper that you can upload it, it's up to you. It's your decision. You want to upload it or you don't want to upload it. If you think that you can upload it, then I upload the paper. And I said, I received this comment from the reviewer. I didn't understand. What do they mean? Then it gives you possibilities. This could be this, this, and that. Also, it can help you also if you say, okay, this is the comment, and I disagree with this comment because I have this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But please phrase it for me in a convincing, professional way, following my writing style, which is already in the paper, because already it has the paper. So it helps you, it will phrase for you a response that's convincing and professional to convince the reviewer. Again, you have to review it, edit it, modify, see if you agree with it or disagree. But this is also some way which you can use, and it is ethical. You can declare if you want at the end that like writing like language and this have been assisted with AI. But the ideas all are yours. The paper is yours, but it helps you because English language is not our language. And many of our papers are rejected because we don't know how to express ourselves, not because the data are not good or the results are not good. It's a new topic, but I mean, I'm saying something that there is nothing right and wrong here at this stage. So some people may accept, some may not accept. That's why we need something, guidelines based on data and based on people who are open-minded and accepting new changes.
Thank you so much, Prof.
Thank you.
I'm really sorry for the inconvenience.
Ashwaq is my student, master student. Maybe she can ask a question.
Yeah, there is also a question before taking question from Dr. Ashwaq. There is a question from Dr. Asma. Dr. Asma, I'm a student and I want to develop my writing skills, and I have benefited from your words today. If there is any courses in the future, can you add?
Yeah, I don't know.
This is from our side. We arrange a couple of lectures, but I don't know if there is, if you are aware about any courses, Prof.
I don't know. I'm sure there are courses like what I showed you that we propose for the World Sleep Society course. I'm sure there will be courses and probably some courses online. If Asma searches the net, probably you will find them. Probably register, or probably you'll find something also on YouTube. But if you go to YouTube, make sure that it is presented by a researcher and academician or a trustable body and site, not by someone who is not expert. Also, some university websites, like I showed you here, North Carolina, Chapel Hill. Also, some university websites, they have guidelines for using AI ethically, which I think we need to have that in our university. So Asma probably can go through that all.
Thank you so much. Also, Dr. Hani, Prof. Ahmed have enlightened in your point. Thank you so much. We want to hear from Dr. Ashwag. Dr. Ashwag, can you?
يعطيك العافية دكتور. شكرا على المحاضرة full of valuable information. Exactly came يعني on spot of my doubt. My question about using or disclose the using of platform or tools and systemic review, like not to use it all the information, all the results it gave me, but if I take it to like brainstorm and gave me what is the related information to my research, and then the result I go directly to the reference it's gave me and rephrase it in my own like words. Should I disclose the information if I use this tool or platform, or it's fine just to write it in my own way?
Again, there is nothing right or wrong here, and I cannot speak for everyone, because if you submit to a journal, you have to go to that journal and read their author's instruction. If they state that you have to declare everything, then you have to declare what you have used AI for. If they do not state that, then you don't have to. So you have to go, because we don't have internationally accepted guidelines that we have all to abide by. But make sure that you don't breach confidentiality and you don't like it doesn't copy others' work and copyright and things like that, because it's not allowed. Yeah, but again, some journals are very strict, some are not. GMA Network, they have clear guidelines. Journals that follow WAMI also they have something. Consult AI also they have something. Some journal may say, please fill the checklist for Consult AI. So you fill that form and submit it with your label. If they ask you whatever you use.
Yeah, but as long I'm working with two institutions now.
Again, ask your institution, like if they have guidelines, like in the university, what should I declare, what should I not? Because I cannot tell you yes or not, and they say no, it's not our policy, says something different. So again, go to their policy. What do they have for the postgraduate student? What should I declare? What should not be declared?
Okay. شكرا دكتور.
الله يعطيك العافية شوي.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Prof. Ahmed. It was really interesting, really informative. And you, as usual, we are happy and honored to have you in this activity. If you have last word to say before closing this meeting.
Yeah, I'd like to thank you for the invitation and thank all the attendees for taking the time to attend and for raising these important questions and comments that enrich the meeting. This is a topic that keeps evolving, and we need to keep discussing it frequently, because things are coming new. The last thing, that if this is recorded, many people from the country and outside the country, they ask me if it is recorded, to put the recording. So if it is recorded, please share with me the recording, then probably we can put it also on Twitter or other places. So it can, the benefit can increase and more people can see it. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Prof. And thank you all attendees for your attendance and attention. Thank you so much. With this, we conclude our meeting today. Thank you very much.